Before I developed the wheel of sustainability, I had to find other ways to make sure problems we solved stayed solved. This is a story of the extreme lengths one of my teams took to sustain their solution. In Macon, Georgia, we had many jams on a main operating line. We were making ceiling tile. And through observation, it was obvious that an area called the flipper and stacker were the key issue for downtime and jams. Now, I reviewed my findings with the plant manager and said that if he gave me a team for about a week, we could reduce those jams at least by half. And he said, well, I want more than half. I want to reduce them to zero, which is pretty challenging. But he approved my proposal and gave me a team to work with. Had some operators, some mechanics, and a supervisor. Now, brought the team together and taught them some product flow and lean techniques and principles on the first day. And then we took a walk out to the line to observe what was going on at the flipper and the stacker. Our observations told us that the spot about 20 to 30 feet from the flipper was where the boards were turning and skewing and then jamming up at that flipper and then the stacker. Now, whenever we had a jam, it would stress the technicians working on the line. They'd have to drop what they were doing to clear those jams. So it's very stressful and sometimes an unsafe situation for them. We knew this was the area for us to work. So we did a lot of measurements and determined locations, ideal locations for guides and also the conveyors leading up to that flipper and into the stacker. And we adjusted the conveyors in those guides so that everything was aligned, square, and parallel. And lo and behold, jams were gone. Now, we had made those adjustments, but then we said, how are we going to keep it this way? Because anybody can readjust anywhere they want to. So we brainstormed. We could mark it, we could label it, we could color code it, we could drill holes and pin it. But then one of our team members, a mechanic, said, hey, if we weld it, then no one can ever take it out of the proper adjustment. So that would keep it as is and keep the jams from occurring ever again. Why even let people adjust? Well, that was a leap of faith. So we said, well, we can't do that today. Why don't we observe our guides and conveyors for the next few days to make sure we're really comfortable with those final locations. Then we'll weld it down. So for 2 days, we made sure we had people following each of the 24 hours of operation and no guides or conveyors were moved. And lo and behold, again, we had no jams. So we decided to take the leap. We got our mechanic, he took out the welder, we shut the line down, and we welded those guides and conveyors in place. Now, what's really nice about that is many, many years later, nothing's been moved, jams are greatly reduced, and no one has used what we used to call the red wrench to readjust guides and conveyors. So if you ever need to sustain something without using the wheel sustainability, perhaps you might want to use a welder. I hope this story provided you with some inspiration to revisit your own processes. I have a lot more I'd like to share. Head over to pi-partners.com to learn how I can help. And check back from time to time for more Kaizen stories.